Good evening. It is Monday, July 23rd, and I call the Maple Plains City Council meeting to order. Please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I am looking for a motion to adopt tonight's agenda.
So moved.
Moved by Cahill,
Second.
second by Broda. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next item of business is the consent agenda. Accounts payable, city council minutes July 9th, city council minutes June 25th, and city council minutes on July 9th.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
Moved by Cahill, second by DeLuca. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next item of business is administrative reports. We'll start with our city engineer.
Actually, Mayor, if that's all right with you, we would like to approve reports A through E as written, and then I would like to give a quarterly finance report if that's all right with the City Council.
That is fine, since we all have those in the packet and have all read them. So looking for a motion to approve reports A through E.
So moved.
Moved by Broda,
Second.
second by Cahill. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. So next we will do our city quarterly finance report.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor and City Council. Every quarter, we give a kind of a financial update to show where the city's at, both from an expense standpoint with our budget, and then also a revenue breakdown of where we're at with our budget. And so what you have in your packet is the first kind of chart there is our year-to-date expenses, and it shows what our budget was in 17, what it is this year, and then what we have used so far, and kind of a percentage breakdown of what we've used. So just kind of going through, I'm going to go through the percentages and then I'll break them down. So our general fund, we're right where we're at, where we need to be. Remember, this is the halfway mark throughout the year, so we're looking for that 50% is kind of what we're shooting for. So our general fund is right where it should be. It's right around 50%, just a little bit under. Community events is in that mid-40s, which is just fine. We had some expenditures pertaining to our city event type deals. I believe we bought a sound system, some other equipment to put on those movies on our own, and that's where those expenditures went. Our water fund is a little high. I'll get more into that in just a second. At 65%, our sewer and stormwater fund are below that 50% number, but we'll be creeping up to where it should be in a little bit. And our fire's a little bit high at 57%, but there's a pretty good reason there as well. So as we go in, here's kind of some explanations of why we are at where we are at. So the general fund is at, again, 49.2%. Some of that has to do with some auditing and accounting that came in a little bit higher than we expected. Staff's doing a little bit more with trying to figure out long-term financial plans for the city, a little bit above and beyond what we would normally do for a given year. And there's where the little expenditures at there. Again, we've got the other half of our assessing bill coming up from the Hennepin County. Workers' compensation insurance costs went up 30% from last year. That was a pretty drastic one. The city actually redid our website this year. That was not budgeted going into this year, so that's a little added expense to be aware about. We had some engineering services, some costs that are taken out of our bonded dollars that have been in our general fund for the time being. And that'll get taken care of at the end of the year by our auditors. That'll move that to our bonded dollars, so kind of inflates our general fund a little bit there, when really it should be coming out of a different area. We have spent, this was a particularly long winter that went into April with snow. So we have gone through 60% of our sand and salt budget, so cross your fingers we can get through December with 40% of that. All in all, the city general fund budget looks really good at this time. There's really nothing jumping off the wall that is like, this is concerning. The ones that are listed above are really the ones that kind of stand out at this time. So there's that. The community fund kind of broke down that we bought some things for our movies in the park. The water fund's a little bit high because we had to make a $207,000 bond payment for our water treatment plant that was due. That was actually just recently made. It's an every expenditure deal. It goes right to the state of Minnesota Public Authority. So that's why that's at 65%. Otherwise, we're in good shape there. The sewer and stormwater funds, we have additional bond payments that are going to be coming out of there in August. So this coming month, that will account for those going up a little bit closer to where they need to be. So it's not like we're holding on to a bunch of money at the end of the year. That money will be spent for our infrastructure projects. Now the fire department, they're a little bit high for a couple of reasons. One, again, their fire pension check they get right away in January, and that's a strategic move on their part. So they have a full year of investing that money. So we don't pay that out in December. I know in years past we have done that, but that was a policy change that they would get it in January, and that makes a lot of sense given the market lately. Also, there's a capital expenditure in the fire department account. The fire department did purchase it was the chief of police's former vehicle and made that into a police response vehicle, and that came strictly out of capital expenditures, but it is reflected in their general fund at that time. That purchase was $15,000. So again, that'll be moved at the end of the year, and that should account for about that 7%, 8% difference above that 50% line at this time. Revenues. So the general fund is currently, we've received 63.26% of scheduled revenues. We collected 60% of our taxes in May and 50% of our LGA. Now, the rest of that isn't going to come towards the very end of the year. So the third quarter report is going to have revenues pretty close to what it is right now. We get our LGA in December, and I believe we get our last bit of taxes in November. So we got a ways to go to see that really get up there. But hopefully, given with some of the economic progress the city's been making recently, my goal is to grossly surpass our revenue expectations. I expect a very good year this year from revenues, which would be really good for the city. Our water fund, our sewer fund, and stormwater fund, I'm going to do them all together. We haven't collected all of our second quarter payments yet. They're actually due at the end of this month, so that's reflected why they're below that 50% area, just because we're still collecting from the bills from quarter two. And the fire department is a little bit above that 50%. They're right where they pretty much should be. But the good news is we're still expecting more training reimbursements from the state of Minnesota. That's a lot of credit to our department for taking advantage of that program. And also, we receive our state 2% money later on this year as well in the late fall. So right now, if things are going as they are with the fire department, capitalizing on different reimbursements, hopefully we are above on revenues as well. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions pertaining to revenues or expenditures for the city.
Any questions for Administrator?
I move we accept the quarterly financial report.
Moved by Rhoda,
I'll second that.
second by DeLuca. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, motion carries.
Thank you.
Next item of business is new business, MS4 annual public hearing, and I will turn that over to our engineer.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Yes, this is our annual meeting where we talk about the MS4 program, and we'll start out with, let's see, Bobby, there we go. What is an MS4? It's not always orange like that lettering there, but it's a municipal separate stormwater system, and it's owned by the state, the city, villages around the state, as well as other public entities, and it's that they own these systems that discharge water to the water bodies of the U.S., and the systems are designed and used to collect and convey stormwater. And this picture kind of shows the water hitting the lawn and moving down to the street and eventually to a creek or a river or a stream. The various agencies involved in stormwater management from a federal standpoint is the federal EPA, and they kind of transfer their rights to the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency. At the state level, there's the Met Council, Department of Natural Resources, and the State Board of Water and Soil Resources. And then at our local watershed level, there's the Pioneer Sarah Creek and Minnehaha Creek watersheds. Stormwater regulations and documents that impact us are once again, the NPDS MS4 permit, the local surface water management plan. That's what every city does in the metro area, as well as watershed management plans and rules that impact these operations. The origins of the MS4 permit was, once again, it started up in 1972 with the Environmental Protection Agency, and they transferred the authority to the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency, those agencies in each state. And then the city of Maple Plain has been involved with the program for a number of years, and the last permit update was in 2014. So we do anticipate here in another year we'll have to update our permit. It's usually every 5 years. There's 6 basic minimum control measures that are part of the MS4 permit that are listed here. The city does various activities in all of those areas. Some of the examples of pollutant sources throughout various communities are organic waste. Here you see some grass clippings or leaves that are put out into the street that get into the system. Illicit discharges, that's a picture of someone dumping some various product that gets to the stormwater system. Most people are aware of the construction runoff, where you see a big storm event kind of overtopping the silt fence. And then chemical applications, whenever we put down salt to protect our roads from icing, et cetera, and we try to, I think, sweep those up early in the spring to get as much of that material off the street, as well as some of the nutrients that get placed on yards that can be examples of pollutants. How does Maple Plain currently comply with the MS4 permit? You do a number of things related on this list. Some of those are partnerships with watersheds and other MS4s. You update your city ordinance and your surface water management plan with certain requirements. You have updated a lot of these things as part of the last permit process, and we'll see some changes, and we'll kind of work with staff and the council on what needs to be done the next permit go around. And finally, you do submit your MS4 annual report every year and have this meeting. So I can open it up to questions now from the council or the public on the MS4 program. Thank you.
Any questions for Dan? All right. With that, I am looking for a motion to accept the MS4 annual report.
So moved.
Moved by Cahill,
Second.
second by DeLuca. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right. Thank you very much. And our next item of business, we will actually be removing from our agenda tonight. They have asked for an extension. Collision Corner has request for an extension for their conditional use permit, and we will be moving that to the August 27th meeting at their request. So that item is no longer on our agenda and will be on our August meeting. Council reports and other business. Why don't we start with Councilmember Cahill this evening?
I attended the Planning Commission meeting this month where we discussed the antenna tower conditional use permit that we approved earlier, and also some of the ELUM details as well. I also attended the Fire Commission meeting, and we had some great discussions about the future of firefighting and, going from small towns, there's a lot of people talking about possibly going into regionals, so, partnering with other cities. So it was definitely a very future conversation, but it was a very interesting one to have.
Thank you. Councilmember Fay?
A light month. I continue to join part of the city council at Rotary on Thursday mornings, and the Pioneer Sarah Creek Watershed Management Commission got canceled for the month of July, so I have nothing more to report.
Thank you. Councilmember Verda?
I was also at the Fire Commission meeting, and we did also look at the preliminary budget, and there's some revisions being made on that, but we'll have that coming back to General Council here soon enough. Also, the movie night was rescheduled from last Friday to this Friday. It looks like it should be much better weather, so we'll give it a shot again. Rainbow Park at 8:30.
Wonderful. Councilmember DeLuca?
Well, since it's only been a week since we met last time, we do have a police commission meeting, the mayor and I, tomorrow morning. We'll be looking at that. There'll be some preliminary discussion about the budget. The police chief will then be sending a preliminary budget to this council for work in the next couple of months. We'll be giving him some guidelines tomorrow.
All right, thank you. I was able to attend the Regional Council of Mayors. We had a unique opportunity this month. We were all encouraged to invite our superintendents to join us, and Dr. Orcott was able to join us. We had a robust conversation about government and schools working together, so that was a great meeting. We also attended the Highway 12 Safety Coalition meeting last week. They continue to move forward, keep the roads safe. They are working on improvements at County Road 90 and moving forward with those. And just want to remind everyone that everyone's invited to Night to Night on August 7th. So check the website and Facebook and the newspaper for more information, and come on out to our community event. Anyone have anything else? Any visitors to be heard this evening? All right. With that, I am looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by DeLuca.
Second.
Second by Broda. The meeting is adjourned at 7:16. You picked a good meeting to come to, gentlemen. Usually we keep you here for hours.